All right, when we left off, we were starting to talk about drawing ellipses in this assignment 5 thing we're making. And we had, let's say, made a side view, and let's say we'd made an auxiliary view, and we know that there's a 1-inch hole in this auxiliary view. So we were, just to demonstrate, we were able to go from the 1-inch hole, from the quadrant points of the 1-inch hole, down into our side view. Speaking of quadrant points, let's look at our object snap settings and make darn sure that quadrant is turned on. Yes, it is. We're making circles and ellipses in this drawing, so we'll want to make sure that we do have quadrant and center. We're likely to use those. All right, anyhow, so we've got some hidden lines in our side view where the hole goes through, and then we drew some construction lines from where the hole intersects that surface, drew construction lines over into the front view. And this one here could be a construction line. I got tricky and made it a center line. All right, so here is call it a bounding box, inside which our ellipse is going to sit. So our hole will be that high and that wide. It's almost a circle, but it's not quite a circle. Let's zoom in a bit, make sure I'm on the object layer, and let's go get the ellipse command. Now, when you drop down this thingy here, you'll see that there are two options for making a full ellipse. There's also an elliptical arc, but never mind that. So you could start at the center and do the major axis and the minor axis, or you could do two endpoints, one on each end of an axis and then one on the other axis. In an ellipse, by the way, the long one is called the major axis and the short one is called the minor axis. Not that we need to know that. In this case here, you have so many construction lines that you could choose either the center version or the end version. We'll try the center version. So I'll click that. What is it saying? Specify center of ellipse. Okay, I'll come here. I'm looking for the intersection O-snap flag. There it is. Click. Now it says specify endpoint. And we could do either the long endpoint or the short endpoint. AutoCAD doesn't care. I'll come out and do the long endpoint. So there's one endpoint of one axis. Now watch what happens. Ooh, an ellipse appears. And it says specify the distance to the other axis. Look what happens to that ellipse as you drag your mouse. It gets longer and shorter, and you just want to click at the place where the other axis ends. There we are. Now, if I would like, I could erase my construction lines so that I don't get confused. You don't have to, but I am easily confused and I like to do that. Okay, and I'll change this thing into a center line. There. It's too long, but that's okay. Now, two things we want to do. One, we want to, let's zoom down a little bit. We want to draw a construction line where the back edge of this hole is visible through that hole. And so I'll just draw a construction line and come over here until it's got a perpendicular O-snap. Okay, now I will make a copy of this ellipse. So you could do the copy button up here. I could type CO for copy. Select objects. OK, select. It's still letting me select, but I'm done selecting, so I will hit Enter to accept. OK, now what? Specify base point. I want to use this point right here at the top center of my ellipse as a base point. And I could use an intersect O-snap, but it looks like it is preferentially choosing a quadrant O-snap. That's totally fine. So I'll use that top point for my base point. Click. Specify second point, right there where I ran my construction line across. Enter. Now, I don't need my construction line anymore. I'm going to trim out this back edge thing. And I've got lots of lines going through here, so when I get the trim command, scissors or TR for trim, I'm not going to hit Enter because that would give me a bunch of extra cutters that I don't really want. I just want to select an object for my cutter, and it is this one right here. My main ellipse is going to be my cutting edge. Enter. Now I can select object to trim. All right, I'll select this second ellipse, and ta-da! It's trimmed. Okay. Now we have a radius on the corner, and this is a 1-inch diameter hole. This radius happens to be a 1/2-inch radius. In other words, it's exactly the same size. A 1/2-inch radius or a 1-inch diameter, that's the same thing. So lucky me, I can use this ellipse right here to make a good-looking elliptical corner. So what am I going to do? I'm going to copy, I think I forgot a step, but I'll try and make do. I'm going to copy this ellipse, and I'll just grab it by its quadrant, and I'll snap it over here to the edge of my part. And now I'll copy it again, but this time I'll grab it by the quadrant or the intersection over on the right side and snap it over here. So those are the shape of my elliptical corners, but I need to move them. So I could use the move command here, or I could type M for move, and I'll click both those at the same time. My base point is the quadrant. See how handy that quadrant O-snap is? Click. And where do I want to go to? I want to go to be perpendicular to this surface up here. Ta-da! There are my elliptical corners. Now I'm going to trim, TR for trim, or I could use my scissor command. And again, I think I will not hit Enter because it would make every blasted line in the drawing a cutting edge. I just want that vertical edge on each side and that horizontal line across the top. Those are my 3 cutters. Enter. And now I will trim and trim. Oh, looking good. Now I need to trim out my straight lines. Trim. This time I will hit enter because it looks like I won't have any messes. It's going to be clean at these corners. So trim, trim. Look at that. That is a good looking ellipse right there. And now I could clean up my center lines here. That would be a good thing to do. If I were being real careful, I might offset my ellipse a certain distance to make it real even on each side. Probably should have done that, but I didn't. Come on, center line. And what I'm doing is I'm clicking on the line so that the grips light up. Then I click on one grip again, and it turns hot. And if you're able to see colors, that grip turns red. Okay, and just drag and stretch. There we go. That looks very good. And now I could go ahead and start doing my top view. Now what I'm going to do for the top view is, let's see if, I hope I don't screw something up here. Here's your PDF cookbook. I'm going to do the old rotate copy deal to make a temporary copy of my top view up here. Oh good, my timer's still there. So I'm going to do rotate, or RO. I'll select my stuff there, enter. Where's my base point? I don't know. I'm just going to go out here in space somewhere. I might get this wrong. That's my base point. Now instead of typing an angle, first I'll type C for the copy option. C for copy. Now what rotation angle do I want? 90. And looky there. I've got a temporary copy of my thing here that I have temporarily rotated 90 degrees. And now I can start making construction lines like crazy and start doing my old fill in the ellipse thing again. So there you go. There are a few more steps for drawing ellipses and making all these foreshortened views. Let me know if you have questions.